Hey everyone, welcome. Great to have you here, especially if it's your first time. We'd be honored if you like and subscribe to the channel. Russian President Vladimir Putin thought he had Ukraine all figured out. To counter Ukrainian drone attacks, he installed air defense systems in the territories Russia has occupied. These systems were supposed to be impenetrable, invincible shields to protect Putin's forces as they prepared for future offensives. But he was wrong. Ukraine just wiped out one of Russia's so-called invincible air defense systems in a daring drone strike that turned a $10 million system into smoke and ashes. On July 9th, RBC Ukraine reported that Ukraine's 413th Black Forest Drone Battalion successfully hit a Russian Buk-M1 air defense system. The exact location wasn't revealed, but we know Black Forest troops were active in Luhansk in January 2024, so it's likely the strike happened somewhere in the Donbas region. According to RBC Ukraine, the success came from a combination of sharp intelligence, precise drone guidance, and powerful FPV, or first-person view, drones packed with firepower, clearly more than the Buk-M1 could handle. The result? Another major blow to Russia's air defense network, leaving Putin's forces more exposed inside Ukraine. And there's more. We've got the footage. The 54-second video was posted on Telegram by Ukraine's ground forces. It shows the Buk-M1 moving along a dirt road, filmed from above by a Ukrainian surveillance drone, apparently undetected by the Russian radar. The vehicle moves briefly, then suddenly stops. A soldier jumps out and runs toward the tree line, followed closely by the Buk-M1, swerving to follow him. Clearly, the Russians knew something was wrong and tried to hide. But the trees couldn't save them. As the Buk-M1 creeps into the trees, the Ukrainian drone watches silently from above, a real-time game of cat and mouse. The Russian crew probably thought they were safe, but they weren't. Around the 20-second mark, the footage switches to a small FPV drone flying straight into the trees, barely visible. A second or two later, boom! A massive explosion lights up the trees. Direct hit. The surveillance drone moves in to confirm the Buk-M1 is now a flaming wreck. Multiple camera angles confirm the strike. A clear hit. Ukraine sent a powerful message. You can run, you can try to hide, but our drones will find you and destroy your $10 million defense system in seconds. According to the Kyiv Post, the strike was months in the making. Back in May, Black Forest reconnaissance spotted the Buk-M1. They weren't able to attack. That's not recon's job, but they marked the location and passed it on to the drone operators. For 2 months, they kept eyes on the target. Finally, they struck when the system was on the move, its most vulnerable state. The Buk-M1 didn't stand a chance. So what exactly did Ukraine destroy? The Buk-M1, which NATO calls the SA-11 Gadfly, is a self-propelled surface-to-air missile system built for medium-range engagements. It's designed to shoot down cruise missiles, helicopters, and both tactical and strategic aircraft, making it a really valuable asset in Russia's arsenal, especially now that Ukraine has F-16 fighter jets, which the Buk-M1 was practically made to counter. It's a pretty capable system. The Buk-M1 sits on a tracked GM569 chassis that can travel at up to 40 miles per hour on roads and about 28 miles per hour off-road, with a range of roughly 310 miles. It carries 4 missiles and uses an onboard radar to detect threats. Once a target is locked, it can fire immediately. There's no delay at all. Each missile, whether the older 9M38 or the improved 9M38M1, is single-stage, X-wing in design, and non-separable. Fast, deadly, and armed with a 155-pound warhead. These missiles really pack a punch, able to rip through helicopters and enemy aircraft with ease. And because it's mobile, the Buk-M1 is a real problem for Ukraine. It's not some stationary system that just sits and waits. It's constantly relocating, always adjusting to the battlefield. That's why so many countries value it. Besides Russia, nations like Belarus, Syria, Serbia, Finland, and even Ukraine have Buk-M1s. Ukraine actually inherited some from the Soviet era, so they know just how dangerous this system is and maybe even more importantly, where its weaknesses lie. That's exactly what we saw in the July 9th footage. The Buk-M1 tried to hide, but the Ukrainian FPV drone tracked it and struck it right in the perfect spot, taking it out in one powerful blast. And, just as a reminder, each of these systems costs around $10 million to build. If this were the only time Ukraine had taken out a Buk-M1, Putin probably wouldn't be too worried. Sure, it's painful to lose such an expensive, invincible system, but one unit really isn't the end of the world. But this isn't a one-off. The Buk-M1 destroyed in July is just the latest in a series of air defense systems Ukraine has wrecked. Back in November 2024, Newsweek reported Ukraine had just destroyed its 1,000th Russian anti-air missile system since the war began. That one also happened to be a Buk-M1, taken out by Ukraine's Putin brigade in what officials called one of the hottest frontline zones. And it happened again in March 2025. Militarny reported a new video posted by the Black Forest Brigade showing yet another Buk-M1 being taken out. The video is similar to the July one, a Buk-M1 traveling a road, trying to hide among trees. And once again, Ukraine's FPV drone found it and blew it up. So while Russia keeps calling its systems invincible, Ukraine is proving, again and again, that nothing is safe from its drones. The system was hiding in the trees. Just like what happened in July. It didn't work. A massive explosion, likely triggered by a Ukrainian drone, disabled the Buk-M1 system. In this case, we know the blast destroyed the solid rocket fuel used in the Buk-M1's missiles, which may have caused secondary explosions that completely took out the system. This might actually be Ukraine's strategy: hit the missiles, and the rest of the system goes with them. This particular Buk-M1 even had a sort of makeshift armor on its upper half, probably to protect it from Ukrainian drones. But it didn't help. Another Buk-M1 destroyed. Then came May 2025, and with it, news of yet another successful Ukrainian strike on a Buk-M1. Once again, it seems the Black Forest Brigade was behind it. A new video shared on Telegram captured the moment of the attack. This time, we see the Buk-M1 racing across a field at top speed, kicking up clouds of dust. It looks like it's trying to escape something. And it doesn't take long before we find out what. Just like in previous cases, it tries to hide in a line of trees. But by now, we know that trick never works. As a Ukrainian recon drone films from above, there's a huge explosion. Sparks fly, and it looks like the air defense system's ammunition ignites, sending projectiles flying out from the Buk-M1. According to the Telegram post, the Buk-M1 anti-aircraft system and its payload were detected and destroyed while on the move, thanks to the effective reconnaissance efforts of the Black Forest Artillery Brigade. This fireworks show caused by the ammo detonation is the result of a precise hit on a modern Russian air defense system. So what can we learn from this series of Buk-M1 strikes? First, the Black Forest Brigade is a serious problem for Putin. Of the 4 strikes we've covered, 3 were carried out by this unit. They clearly specialize in coordinating attacks on Russian air defense systems. And as Putin tries to tighten control over Luhansk and cement gains in Donbas, the Black Forest Brigade is chipping away at his air cover, maybe to open gaps for a future Ukrainian counterattack. Second, Ukraine clearly has a standard playbook when it comes to taking out Buk-M1s. In every video, we see the same pattern: Ukrainian drones spotting and tracking the systems as they attempt to hide in trees. But the camouflage never works. Ukraine uses FPV drones that can weave through the trees and deliver precision strikes. Judging by the strikes in March and May, Ukraine may have figured out that targeting the missiles instead of the radar or launcher can trigger catastrophic explosions that take the entire system out. That's a smart and efficient tactic, and there are plenty of reasons for Ukraine to pursue this strategy. Right now, Ukraine seems focused on taking out as many Russian air defense systems as possible, as quickly as possible. As we mentioned earlier, Ukraine's November 2024 Buk-M1 strike marked the 1,000th Russian air defense system destroyed since the start of the war. And the number keeps growing. According to Ukraine's Ministry of Finance, as of July 10th, Russia had lost 1,193 anti-air systems. That's over 40 months of war, an average of around 30 destroyed per month, or roughly 1 system every single day. Putin never expected this kind of response, and it's causing serious problems for Russia's military. Back in August 2024, Business Insider reported that Ukraine's air defense hunting tactics had forced Putin to constantly shift his dwindling units across the front lines. Analysts from the Institute for the Study of War even said that, by that point, Russia didn't have enough systems left to protect all the areas it needed to, even in supposedly safe zones. That seems to be the case with the July 9th strike, too. Assuming it happened in the Black Forest Brigade's operating area in Luhansk, Russia claims to control 100% of that region. It's supposed to be secure. Yet Ukraine still managed to hit a high-value target deep inside, suggesting that Russia's grip isn't as firm as it claims. And these attacks force Russia to constantly reposition its air defenses. If one location is exposed, units are moved from elsewhere to plug the gap. This creates vulnerabilities in other places. This isn't just a Ukraine problem either. In May, United 24 media reported that Russia began setting up dozens of fake air defense systems, mock-ups of S-300 and S-400 platforms, in the Far East. Why? To hide the fact that the real ones were being pulled out and moved west to defend against Ukrainian drone strikes. In doing so, Russia is weakening its influence in regions far beyond Ukraine, which could cause long-term damage to Putin's foreign policy. Those systems were in the Far East to reassure Russia's allies that it could protect shared interests. If those defenses are gone, why should those allies continue to trust Moscow? And here's the bigger problem for Putin. The more Ukrainian drones destroy, the more Ukraine can open pathways for deeper strikes. Because Russia keeps shifting its defenses, Ukraine can now start using feints. Fake attacks in one location to lure air defense systems away from a real target somewhere else. And drones make all this possible because they're cheap. Remember, that Buk-M1 Ukraine hit in July cost Russia $10 million. More advanced systems like the S-400 can cost $200 million per battalion, according to Newsweek. In contrast, the US State Department says Ukraine can build the FPV drones it uses for just $400 each. Even the long-range drones that Ukraine uses for deep strikes cost around $200,000 each, still far cheaper than the Russian systems they're targeting. That means a single $400 FPV drone destroyed a $10 million Buk-M1, a 25,000 to 1 return on investment. And the financial hit isn't just in equipment. Ukraine's war is draining Russia's entire economy. Western sanctions and excessive military spending have left Russia with interest rates above 20%, inflation hovering around 9 to 10%, and a record low unemployment rate of 3%, suggesting a shortage of workers. Russia's liquid currency reserves have also plummeted, from $117 billion in 2021 to about $31 billion today. In February, a US official estimated that Putin's war in Ukraine had cost Russia $211 billion, and that number has only gone up since. The Washington Post says the total may be closer to $300 billion by February 2025. This matters in the context of the Buk-M1 strike because Russia is running out of money. And as the economic pressure mounts, Putin will have to make hard choices. Spend $10 million to replace a destroyed Buk-M1, or use that money to recruit hundreds, maybe thousands of new contract soldiers. These are the kinds of decisions Putin never thought he'd be facing when he invaded Ukraine in February 2022. But forcing him into this corner is exactly what Ukraine is aiming for. By targeting expensive gear like the Buk-M1 with cheap drones, Ukraine hopes to bleed Russia dry, financially, militarily, and psychologically. Whether this strategy succeeds long-term remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, Russia isn't just losing air defense systems at a shocking rate. Ukraine's attacks on Putin's armored vehicles have also left Russian forces exposed, running low on the armor they once relied on. Thanks for watching. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to news. More videos are on the way. Stay tuned and